Hey Paula Deen and Philadelphia cream cheese. I'm Jen McNabb and I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I cannot wait to show you this recipe. It is absolutely delicious. It is my country Italian polenta with roasted relish. When I first saw this contest, I was immediately inspired to come up with creamy dishes that somehow took a step or two out so it could speed me along, and this one definitely did. So my polenta is so creamy and delicious, you're not gonna believe it, and there's many things you can do with it. But what I'm gonna start out right now is to show you how to make my roasted relish. I have the oven preheated at 425. All I've done here is quarter some cherry tomatoes, and I've diced a whole red pepper. And I'm just gonna throw it right on a sheet pan. Make sure it has edges, along with a whole diced red onion. Throw that on there. It's super easy. I'm going to do about 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, some cracked black pepper, and a teaspoon of just regular old dried Italian seasoning. Makes it yummy. Going to drizzle with a tablespoon of olive oil. You can see that I really take the time to measure accurately. And using your hands, it feels like a little massage for this relish. Gonna go ahead and just roll it around on the pan. I'm all set there. It actually smells good the way it is, but we're gonna roast it and stick it in the oven right now for 10 minutes. 10 minutes from now, we're actually going to put in 2 cloves of crushed garlic and keep roasting it for an additional 5 minutes. In here, I'm gonna do everything in just this big Dutch oven. You can use a really large saucepan. I'm just melting 1 tablespoon of butter. I'm gonna get that nice and foamy and warm. So my butter is awesome. It's all foamy and hot. I'm gonna add 3 ounces of prosciutto that I've just sliced in really thin strips. And what we're doing here is simply getting it really crisp and yummy. So prosciutto is uncured and doesn't have the smokiness of bacon, but yet the saltiness and the pork flavor and the fat, it's perfect. I'm only doing the butter to give it a little head start on the crispy. So this only takes a couple minutes. I've got my relish in the oven working. Everything I'm gonna do is right in this pot and on that sheet. Hey, come on over here. I want you to see this prosciutto. It is absolutely delicious. You can see it sizzling, and Paula, I know it's not bacon, but it's Italian ham. It's just as good, I promise. So right now, what I'm gonna do is just take it out of the pot. I've turned it on low. We're gonna set this aside because this is gonna be one of our delicious garnishes. So now that it's all out of the pan and beautiful and crispy, I've got lots of brown bits here and yumminess with the saltiness of the prosciutto and the 1 tablespoon of butter. So what's a girl to do but add more butter? And that's what we're gonna do. So I've got just 2 tablespoons here. Get that all nice and sizzling in the pan. I'm gonna melt this. I'm turning this to low because after this melts, I'm gonna add just a little bit of garlic, and then in goes the broth and the softened Philadelphia cream cheese. So I've got 2 tablespoons of garlic here. It's going right in. I'm gonna make sure I stir this really well so it doesn't burn. I want the garlic inside the polenta. There we go, all sizzle. And then what I'm gonna do, come on over, I've got 3 cups of chicken broth and 3 cups of whole milk. So I'm just gonna pour that directly into the pan. I've got those brown bits coming up. The garlic scent is unbelievable. And then I'm gonna turn this up because what we're gonna do when this gets nice and hot, I'm gonna get it to kind of a simmer, is then whisk in our 4 ounces of cream cheese. But the roasted relish is now done. For this step, I'm going to take it out briefly, and what we're going to do right now is add the other 2 cloves of crushed garlic. Okay, so it looks like the milk and the broth mixture have come to a boil, and I'm just turning it down. Super hot, you can see the steam. And we've got our 4 ounces of Philadelphia cream cheese, totally softened already. I'm going to scrape that in. Oops. And then I'm going to switch to a whisk. And what I'm going to do, if you can see here, is just kind of break it up. So the cream cheese is already softened, but I want the heat from the milk and the broth to just melt it. And it's going to melt beautifully into a silky sauce. Give this a stir, and in goes our cornmeal, polenta. And this is not instant. And what we're going to do is whisk this vigorously and just make sure that it doesn't clump. I'm doing a cup. You could do a cup and a half, but I actually like my polenta pretty wet, because then on leftovers, it's not as clumpy or gooey. So there we go, it's all whisked together. Turn this down on low, and I'm actually going to cover it and let it hang out. So at this stage, what I'm going to do is just add in a little Parmesan cheese, or Pecorino Romano, Asiago, whatever kind of hard Italian cheese you have on hand. Get that in there. I actually haven't salted this dish, and the reason why I wait till the end is because there is some reduction that happens. I don't want it to be too salty, so I'm just going to add in, I think, just about 2 tablespoons of salt and some cracked black pepper. Keep in mind the relish has salt in it as well as pepper, so everything's seasoned well. There we go. It's great. When you serve this also, if you're serving it family style or in individual dishes, the more it sits, it thickens up a little bit. So that's why I also like to have it a little bit more on the liquid side. Here we go. I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to bring our relish over here. You can also serve the relish on the side if you have some picky eaters. I try and sneak veggies like this in with my kids as the garnish and make it what they call fancy. It's not really fancy. We all know that mom's trying to get vegetables into them. There's that. And at the last few seconds, I'm really just going to combine some fresh basil into that. Check out that roasted relish. It's delicious. So here's what we've got, the rundown. We've got our crispy prosciutto, our roasted relish, our unbelievably creamy polenta. I love to serve these in individual ramekins, like I said. You can do it also family style here in a big one. And you just want to spoon it in here. Come on over and take a look at this. Here's our polenta. It's perfect. And we're going to put just a little bit of relish on top, the fanciness of it all. Get some basil. There we go. And then some crispy prosciutto. And there you have it. I'm Jennifer McNabb from Nashville, and you now have my country Italian polenta with roasted relish. Thanks. Bye.